G'day, Brodie Brown, Millionaire Mortgage Secrets. Quick video for you today on something which is vitally, critically important if building wealth and having financial security is something that you'd like to do. Money habits. I'm kind of on the border of what I'm legally allowed to tell you. So now that I've told you that this is not financial advice or anything of that sort, and this is just me sharing information with you, then I'm totally clear. So I'm just going to jump into it. My old man, who I love, who's done very well for himself financially over the years, left school at 15, he's in his 80s now, super comfortable. He is a reader of my newsletters, and I'm thinking that if you're watching this, you may be too. I'm hoping you've read the Millionaire Mortgage Secrets book, so you know about my mindset and about how I think. He sent me an article from the Australian newspaper from last weekend, and what it's talking about here is the simple money habits of the rich. In it, Kathy Reeds, who's a recruitment legend, worth 300-400 million. Graham Turner, Flight Centre, the founder of Net Wealth. WA's Nigel Satterley, who's worth about $500 million. It's fascinating that when you read this, to me, it's like, yeah, of course, but I think for most of us, it's easier to say it. I think many of us know what these people do, but we don't do it. And that in itself is the biggest difference that I can see. I'll run through this really quickly with you. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I just want to get these points to you so that you can watch this quickly, remind yourself and go, fuck yeah, okay, I need to do that. I'm not doing that. First one is budget. I bang on about this until I'm sick. It's the same thing. It's budgeting. If you don't have a budget and if you don't stick to it, forget about it. Forget about building wealth. It goes hand in hand. And I mean that. Like, if you can't budget your money, if you can't stick to that budget, just fucking forget about being rich. Okay? Because if you can't budget, you're never going to be able to run a business. You won't be able to run a property or investment properties. You won't be able to put together a small development. You won't be able to run a business. You just basically forget about it. Say, look, I'm happy living hand to mouth and I'm happy being broke, and hopefully I get a pension at the end of the year. I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but that's what it is. Until you've got your head around a budget and you can stick to it rigorously, strictly, then, that's the first part you need to get done before you move on to the next part. You have the very wealthiest people in the country saying the same thing, and it's the most important thing. Nigel Satterley says in this, and it's a little bit basic, but it's bang on, you need to know where your money's going. At the beginning of each year, he sets a budget and then he tracks it. You read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey's book, he says the same thing. Sits down at the beginning of the year, I think he's gone to God now, he, his wife, here's what we earn, here's what we do, here's what we bring into the household, here's what we contribute with our time. Now kids, what do you do? How are you going to help out? How are you going to earn your keep? And I think people forget about this. Until your family and you are running yourselves like a business, which is my phrase for it, you can't move on to the next step, which is investing in and probably building wealth. So budgeting, sticking to the budget, treating yourself like a business, do that. Living within your means. I don't know how many times I've said this to people, but it's a forgotten habit. It's like, and it's fundamental. If you can't live within your means, then you're spending more than you earn. I was listening to an interview with Tony Abbott the other day, who I think is a real dude, and he's saying the same things. He says that we have forgotten how to live within our means. Right? So you go back to my old man's generation and the generation after that, the builders, the boomers, and even the generation that was growing up subsequently, and that's what they did. They didn't have access to credit cards. They didn't have access to Afterpay, buy now, pay later, ZipPay, all these other things which create this consumer type culture. They were working 2 jobs. They'd wake up, they'd be at work at 7, 8 o'clock, come home, eat dinner at 5, go back to work. That's what they'd do. And they would save. Saturday, they're not out having a good time on the ski boat, they're working. Sunday, they're working. That's just what it is. And even with all that hard work, which people have forgotten about, they're still saving, scrimping and saving, putting their pennies away to use them later. So living within your means, I just agree with that so much. Don't lose track. So tracking your spending, same thing. All well and good to have a budget. If you don't track it, it doesn't mean anything. Be disciplined. I think that goes hand in hand with much of this. It's having that discipline. I like the phrase accountability partner. A girlfriend of mine mentioned that to me a while back, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I like that. So find someone, whether it's your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Pay your accountant extra. Say, mate, I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to help keep me on track. If you can't do it yourself, I have become very good at looking after myself because I've been broke before, and I don't want to be broke again. I'm being honest with you now. Like, I've actually been, I think part of what makes it so easy for clients to relate to me is I've been broke, you know, and I'm definitely not like that now. So being broke and knowing that you really want to be substantially wealthy and financially secure, that'll make you disciplined. So focus on discipline. In terms of, you know, tactical things that I do all of my spending on the business. Majority of it goes through one credit card, which I clear every month. I've never paid $1 of interest on that thing, and every month when the statement comes in, it's just arrived now, I go through it with, you know, it's line by line. You know, I heard a congressman in the US saying this the other day about Doge. He says that we need to go through the budget line by line, and that's how you run a business. It's how you run your family finances. So I can't tell you how many people I deal with who are terrifically high earning people, and fuck do they spend. It's like, man, like, what is all this shit? Like Uber Eats and Garden City and cinema and travel and leisure stuff and just profligacy, you know, like extravagance. So if you want to be wealthy, you can't have that, right? So let's move on. Goal setting. I reckon that's lofty, right? So goal setting is wonderful if you have the discipline, or if you have an accountability partner to help you reach those goals. Set your goals frequently, resetting. And what I mean by that is that goals are something that you are doing. It's a daily basis, right? It's like, I want to do that this week. I want to do that this month. And you're doing these things every day, and you're reviewing your goals every day so that you're constantly heading in that direction, albeit at the same time allowing yourself some degree of flexibility so that you can go with life's ebbs and flows, because, you know, we make plans and God laughs, and I believe that's true. So that being said, having goals set and doing the things in order to reach those goals, but tracking them on a daily basis, holding yourself accountable on a daily basis is what you need to do. They say, who's this? Be mindful of debt. That's such an understatement. Be mindful of debt, man. Debt is the silent thief. Interest is just sucking money out of your bank account while you sleep, right? It's stealing you blind. And any debt that you're keeping that isn't generating income, your mortgage, credit cards, car loans, personal loans, I'm saying HECS as well, right? Government loans, it doesn't matter. You wanted the education, you got to pay for it. You wanted the thing that you bought with your credit card, you got to pay for it. Buy now, pay later, ZipPay, Afterpay, do not go near them. Like if you're that desperate that you need, I'm giving you a lecture now, but if you're that desperate that you need to resort to some point of sale bullshit where you're borrowing $1,300 on a short term to buy, you know, something from JB Hi-Fi or you know, Bed Bath & Table or wherever, you can't fucking afford it. Like, just don't buy it. Okay, just don't buy it. So this is me saying, you know, naughty boy, naughty girl, but that is the reality. Kathy Reed, who, you know, she just looks like a lovely sort of girl, very modestly put together as well. She's worth, you know, a hell of a lot, and she's just, you know, basic watches, looks, you know, modestly dressed. You wouldn't pick her out in the street at all. She probably loves it. But she says, Reed says to be wary of micro debts. I absolutely hate the idea of Afterpay and the like, especially when it's used as a way of funding unnecessary purchases. She says, if you're using Afterpay to get your nails done or to fund expensive beauty treatments, then you'll be far better placed in reassessing your spending priorities, not finding yourself still paying for a manicure months after the polish has chipped off. So, girls, think about that as well. Stop procrastinating, of course, and then they talk about investments as well. I think that's a discussion for another day. What I would add to all of this, because I'm fairly well versed in this kind of shit, is spending awareness, which is my term for elevating this idea of budgeting. Budgeting is not easy. Budgeting takes time. You've got to sit down, work out what you want to do that year or that quarter or that month or whatever, allocate the spending for that, then you've got to write it down, set it aside, go back to it, track it. I don't know many people who are seriously wealthy who do that, but they're wealthy because it's as if the way that they relate to money has transcended that, and they've become tight and they're proud of it. And I had someone say to me the other day, very close mate of mine, he goes, yeah, Brody, well, mate, you're tight. And I said, yeah, I think I am. And he was like, yeah, mate, you are. And I was like, that's probably why I've got money, because I work so hard for my money and what I've got. Why would I want to give it away to anyone else? Like, you just, once you kind of piece that together and you're like, shit, yeah, I worked my ass off for it and I gave, 60 hours this week to earn that money. Why the hell would you want to give it to someone else? So when you start to think about that, and people are ashamed for being tight, and he doesn't buy rounds, or he eats before he goes out, or they drive around a scruffy car, or they stay at a humble Airbnb when they travel, or whatever, or when they chatted to this bird the other day who's probably worth about 50 million, and she was telling me that when they go on the cruises, with their girlfriends, they take a bottle of gin and they put the gin in the handbag, and they go they go to the fancy part of the cruise. I've never been on one, and they sit down and they order one drink, so that they've got the drinks and they've chalked up an order, and they've got the bottle of gin, and they just quietly the gin's in the water bottle or some shit like this, so that no one sees what it is that they're drinking, but they're drinking on the cheap. They're still getting the atmosphere and the vibe, but they're enjoying themselves on a budget. And I think that's something that is nothing to be ashamed about. It's just part of the game. So my phrase for that is spending awareness. Spending awareness. So elevating your relationship to money where budgeting is unnecessary. You just hate to spend. Every time you're at the till or you're shopping online, you're like, whatever it is that you're doing, nah, I can cook at home. Nah, Benjamin Franklin says this. It's the small things that you need to be mindful of. Small things that you need to be mindful of. It might sound weird. I'm just being open and honest with you. I love these little protein drink things when I'm busy and I'm in a hurry, and it's they're $4.65. Okay, and I'm penny pinching. It's $4.65. It's a fucking protein drink. All right. I go home. I get a scoop of the stuff. I mix it up with water. It's 30 cents. Okay, you do. Doesn't sound like you're saving $4.30. You do that 100 times a year or 200 times a year. That's probably easy. 365 day year. That's $800 of savings just there. So I'm not one of those guys who stresses out too much about buying coffee. But I am usually having coffee with a business associate or with a client or someone like that, so it might work for me as an expense. So whether that works for you or not. Final thing is, don't just watch this video and hey, thanks bros for the info and move on to the next thing. Start to live and breathe it. Meditate on it, marinate on it. Wake up in the morning, think about your money, think about your spending, think about making this pile of money grow. When you go to bed, think about money, right? Manifest it. It'll start to happen. Trust me on this. It takes a bit of time, but over the months, over the years, you'll just watch it go, yeah, shit, this thing's happening, okay? Look at these guys. This dude here, he's a Queenslander. Give him a break. Short sleeve t-shirt, always, whenever he's interviewed. Short sleeve t-shirt, a couple of pens in his top pocket, plastic watch. She, multi-billionaire, look, she doesn't look extravagant. You can't, and you won't notice true wealth, right? These people don't live like that. I'm not getting that phone. So, listen, I don't need anything from you to do these videos. This is just an adjunct to what I do as a mortgage broker. But what I would say is that they're here to help you. They're here to help you, educate you, and help you get where you want to go financially. All I'd ask is that if you're liking this, if you're getting something out of it, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. It's just a bit of a pat on the back for me, so that it reminds me, it actually gives me a bit of enthusiasm to keep on going and produce these vids. If you want to book a call with me, use the link below in the description. Thanks very much for watching.